Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our course for statistics and measurements. This is module 1 of our for statistics FRM 7 class, Introduction to Statistics. I already gave you this module, and hopefully already read, you have already read this module. So, introduction. So we have, for this module, we have 5 lessons for module 1. Lesson 1 is the concept of statistics. We will be discussing about the introduction of statistics, why it's important to study statistics, the major branches of statistics, and the qualitative and about variables. Now for lesson number 2, scales of measurements, we will be discussing a little bit of introduction, then we will be identifying continuous and discrete variables. For lesson number 3 is frequency distribution. So we'll give a little bit of introduction, then we will be discussing in depth about how to make a frequency distribution table and how to calculate those formulas. We'll be using formulas to generate frequency distribution tables. Lastly, in lesson number 4, we will be talking about graphs. Now for graphs, it's very important as graphs is used to illustrate or trying to illustrate your data in order for us to easily identify and explain our data sets. Now lastly, for lesson number 5, which is central tendency, you already know about this, which is the three major central tendency indicators, which is the mean, median, and mode. And then lastly, I added here a little bit about the topic about outliers. Now, I already gave you an instruction to answer your module pre-test. So the purpose of this learner's guide is to help students be introduced to the fundamentals of forest statistics and statistics in general. So we will also be discussing about hypothesis testing, bivariate relationship or correlation and regression. And then lastly, we'll be discussing about introduction to analysis of variance, which is the usual analysis, statistical analysis that we use when we do forest research or in agricultural researches in general. So why is it important? It's very important. Statistics is very important for researchers as when we're doing in the field, we will be gathering a lot of data, a lot of information, and those information needs to be presented in a way nga ato siyang ma-extend sa general public nga it's much more easier to understand. Now, how to use this module. So this learner's guide is composed of 4 modules. Module 1 is the introduction of statistics. Module 2 is hypothesis testing. Module 3, bivariate relationships. And Module 4 is introduction to analysis of variance. Now, for each module, you have 3 lessons. But for this module, lesson 1, may nakita exemption. For this module 1, we have 5 lessons. Since atong module 1, more or less introductory part man lang, we will not be dealing much on computation or higher problem solving in module 1. Okay, so I will give you reading materials like these modules and some references, and of course I will be uploading this lecture video series, okay, for this class. Now for our learning objectives, at the end of the course, students should be able to explain the importance and the uses of statistics, why do we need to study statistics, and then understand and discuss the basic terminologies in statistics like variables, quantitative, qualitative data, inferential statistics, descriptive statistics, so on and so forth. We will also learn how to organize data using frequency distribution. It's the most common or the basic way in illustrating or organizing our data using frequency distribution. And then we will be interpreting and creating statistical graphs. We have different kinds of graphs. We have the bar graphs, pie charts, time series, the line graph. Each of those graphs have specific application on it, okay? And lastly, you should be able to apply mean, median, mode formula to generate simpler data sets or to identify or determine our central tendency limits of our data sets. And for module number 2, you In hypothesis testing, we will be using the two most common statistical tests that we use in descriptive statistical qualitative researches, which is t-test, or the student t-test, and the z-test, or the one sample t-test. And then for Module 3, for our finals, Module 1 and Module 2 will be the coverage of our midterm examination, and Module 3 will be the coverage of our Module 3 and 4 will be the coverage of our final examination. Now for Module 3, which is the bivariate relationships, we will focus our discussion on correlation and regression. And lastly, for Module 4, we will be focusing on using or analyzing problems using the statistics F-test or ANOVA. Okay, F-test, or we just use the one-way or one-factor F-test. Although I will be discussing on the last part about factorial F-test or factorial ANOVA, but we will be focusing our discussion on one-way or one sample or one-factor ANOVA or F-test. Okay, mas complicated ang factorial. Okay. Moving on. We go directly. So we have here, you read your course content. These are our deadlines for our course content. We should be here at Module 1, Concepts of Statistics and Frequency Distribution and Graphs. This is our target for our first to third week of February. Okay. Then you have here again, we have quizzes, laboratory exercises, which I will be giving to you. So on and so forth. Now for the course requirements, I will be requiring you at the end of the semester to submit problem sets. I will be giving you problem sets and compiled laboratory exercises. Dapat at the end of the semester, may daka mo kompleto nga problem sets o compiled laboratory exercises. Now, unlike sa atong previous nga mga classes or courses nga akong nag-handle, our grading criteria for the semester is different because mao ni ang ato nga breakdown sa atong grading criteria. Our major course output is equivalent to 50%. Our major course output includes problem sets, nga kato akong ihatag sa iyo, and laboratory exercises that you will be complying. And then we have 30% ang atong midterm o ang final exam, ang atong mga major term exam, and ang atong class standing is only 20%. Quizzes 15%, your active participation is only 5%. Ang active participation, whether during the classes or sa chat, you ask questions or you do clarification, you answer questions, you answer problems that I'll be giving you. So good, but it's just 20% la to class standing. So I highly advise mga students to give more time sa inyong major course output at sa inyong major exam. Again, for this course, I will just be giving you problem sets, mga sets of problems, problem sets is plus nila. We have problem sets and of course laboratory exercises that you compiled for midterm and final exam. Okay, that's a total of 100%. So our references for this semester, you have here Gomez and Gomez, Statistical Procedure for Agricultural Research. Here si Myers, Keppel, and Burnham, Fundamental. You can check this, number 1, Burnham, Fundamental Statistics. This is online lang, a book. So please check that out. And then you have here suggested readings. You can check those all out. Okay? Now let's move forward directly to our topics, which is Module 1, Introduction to Statistics. So our module description is the concepts and theories in statistics. Basic descriptive statistics, so we'll be dealing with only basic descriptive stat, graphical presentation, central tendency, and lastly, variability of our data. Now this module serves as an introductory part of this course, FRM 7. This module provides the students with fundamental knowledge on the different concepts and theories in statistics. That is what we will be focusing on Module 1. So let's move forward to, hopefully, naansiran yung Module 3 test, sabitan na ninyo sa, again, reminding everyone that you should submit all your activities in your Google Classroom account. Okay, para ma-organize kita. Okay? Now, for lesson number 1, concepts of statistics. This is our lesson number 1. This is our learning plan. Now, our objective at the end of this lesson is that students should be able to explain the importance and uses of statistics. Now, first of all, ask yourself, why do we need to study statistics? Why is statistics important? Now, statistical knowledge helps you use the proper methods to collect the data. That's what's important. Employ the correct analysis and effectively present the results. Statistics is a crucial process behind how we make discoveries in science, make decisions based on data, and make predictions. This is very important, especially in decision making. We use data, try to analyze those data, and make inferences out of those data so that we try to inferences, or you try to forecast based on your previous data so that you will have good decision-making strategies. Just like that is why statistics is used in researches, in science. And now lawmakers are advised to look into outputs in science or in research as it is well proven and it uses statistics. Okay? And we all know that science is constitute the body of knowledge, and those body of knowledge is really proven through different methods. And those methods include statistical analysis. Okay? Now, this chapter covers the discussion in basic terms and definitions and discusses how and when statistics are used in research and real life. Even in real life, not just in research. Every day, every minute, and every hour, you are doing statistics with your life. Without statistics, you cannot do anything. Okay? Basically, our life depends on doing inferences in statistics. Now, descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, quantitative and qualitative variables, sampling concepts, and various data sources also covered in this chapter. So those are basic terms, and we will be covering basic terms in statistics, and we'll be covering that for this lesson. So basic terminologies, when you hear the word statistics, we have population, sample, parameter, survey, variables. So what are those? Now, first of all, we need to ask, why care for statistics? Why is statistics important? Especially in our current situation right now on COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as of December, based on data, as of December 8, 2020, there are over 67 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, including 1.5 million deaths reported to World Health Organization. So, ang World Health Organization are collecting data from all over the world, and ang atong nakikita na lang sa news is through graphs, di ba? Through graphs na lang nakikita nato sa news. Because if you just get the data, feed that to the people, dili na nila ma-absorb, labi nagdagpo ng huge quantity of data. You need to analyze it and show it or illustrate it in a way that is much easier to understand, especially with the use of graphs. Now, another data is 8 out of 10 Filipinos approve of the Duterte administration response to the coronavirus health crisis. Now, the question is, ginunsa man ni sa Rappler? For example, how did Rappler come up with this result that 8 out of 10 Filipinos approved the Duterte's administration response? It's because of interviews, and those interviews results were analyzed using statistical, basic descriptive statistics, and you can now make some what do you call this, findings about discussion or interpretation of your findings. 92% of the Filipinos believe that President Duterte has done well in preventing the spread of the coronavirus. Okay? So again, based mo ng mga social weather surveys, kanatong kung inyong nalunggan na sa TV, na always basta na election, ang pulso ng taong bayan, those are based on the SWS survey. There is a government in the Philippines that that do this kind of surveys, like our PSA or the Philippine Statistics Authority. Okay, sa una, NSO, karon PSA na. Ang ilang trabaho is to gather information